That slide sounds pretty good in French. I like it. Took a hike up the Wasatch last week to get a peek at life on the other side. I love these hikes. They kind of get the heart rate up and also help me to reflect more profoundly on all the stuff of life that just goes by too quickly without a moment's thought. I got to thinking about the stunning announcement this week. I wonder how many of you have heard this. The announcement by Facebook co-founder and chief executive Mark Zuckerberg. You know about this? Who, with his wife Priscilla Chan, promised to give to charity 99% of their Facebook shares, currently worth $45 billion. Now, this astonishing charitable gift coincided with the birth of their daughter Max the week before. A gift intended, I think, to help prepare a better world for their child. But I couldn't help but thinking how Max would react to her parents' benevolence once she hits puberty and puts two and two together. You did what with my inheritance? You gave away $45 billion of my money? What am I supposed to do now? Work? Go to public schools? Now, of course, we all know the first thing she's going to do is defriend her parents from Facebook. You know, when you think about it, it's really hard to accept the fact that one is suddenly bereft of $45 billion. I mean, let's face it, we all have issues with our parents, but it would be hard to top Max. I hope she's still going to be able to afford a therapist. She's going to need it. Someday we'll read about Max when she files early for emancipation. I'm sure she will. I also had a chance to ponder the new rules. I wonder how many of you actually know this to be true. You may feel it. But there are new rules that apply to being in a relationship at this time of year. Did you know that you are strictly forbidden to break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend when it's too close to Christmas? In fact, I'm not making this up. Last Friday, the day before yesterday, which was 2 weeks before Christmas, that was your last chance to break up. Those are the rules. I mean, there are no state or federal regulations forbidding termination of a relationship too close to Christmas. But if you break up with someone within 2 weeks of this joyous holiday, friends will never like your post again, which is the modern equivalent of shunning. Your holiday breakup will subsume your identity. It'll be the first line in your obituary. So if you're thinking of leaving your lover this pre-holiday season, I'd certainly give it some time. Now, there are many, many ways in which people can feel isolated. Not only does the Christmas breakup rule apply, but that's another way that leads to isolation. There is a legitimate literary review society that annually selects a novelist for the Bad Sex in Fiction Award. As a writer, you better find the right words if you need to describe anything sexual in your novel. Winning the Bad Sex in Fiction Award is not an award you would exactly relish or ever want to talk about with your friends, although they will undoubtedly remind you with a snicker. If given this award, you will seek your own exile in isolation. A former recipient of the Bad Sex in Fiction Award still berates himself for foolishly writing in his novel that the sex that his characters experienced was like supernovas exploding. And it went downhill from there. It's not true that all publicity is good. When I got to the top of the Wasatch, I had a splendid view into a faraway and remote town in central Poland, a town called Tazin. Now you might figure, what in Tazin caught my attention? Well, the town is having trouble with Winnie the Pooh. The proposition to name a playground in honor of Winnie the Pooh has come under great fire, and it will not happen. The reason for the stormy protest over Pooh Bear is that the citizens of Tuzin feel he is immodestly dressed. And furthermore, they discovered while observing his immodest dress that he lacks any clear gender. And so the citizens refer to Winnie the Pooh as a hermaphrodite. That could be a whole new book, Winnie the Hermaphrodite. I think the whole town of Tuzin deserved some kind of bad sex award, don't you? It's terrible. So what they did, they decided to name the playground instead after a fully clothed Polish bear by the name of Wasatch. They apparently don't realize that the first thing children do with a doll or bear is to undress them. And then what? Once Wasatch is exposed, they'll be back to confused gender identity once again, which is a way of bears these days. When I descended back to the valley, I felt great sadness, actually, for Pooh Bear. Not only is he of little brain, but apparently of little anything else. Then realized that, Salt Lake City has its own uptightness when it comes to sexuality and gender identity or lack of gender identity. But I am convinced that Winnie the Pooh would find very little resistance in Salt Lake. Perhaps Christopher Robin may be a little suspect around here. But Pooh Bear will remain a great cuddle bear forever despite his immodesty, which goes to show you once again, Utah is the one place you have to leave in order to discover just how much you really love it. The offering. The offering will now gratefully be received, and a reminder, it does go exclusively to these incredible musicians.